This time we're going to look at how to get the equation of a straight line graph just by looking at it. So before we learnt how to use the points that we were given to find the gradient. So we're still going to do that first. So this point is 0, -2, and this point here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Right, so we've got our 2 points. So we're going to use this information to find the gradient just like we did at the start. So just a reminder of this little formula. So we've done this before. This is the thing we're going to use to begin with. So m is going to equal, so this is going to be 0.1 and 0.2. I usually go left to right, but it really doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. So then y2 is going to be over here, so 2 minus -2, because I've got -2 as y1. And then I have x2 is 4 minus 0. So then I have 2 minus negative, so obviously this becomes a plus, so I've got 4 over 4, which is 1. So this is easy. So my slope is 1, and you should be able to see that from the graph anyway. Rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1, rise 1, 1, run, right? That's all of these points just rise and run 1. 1 over 1 is 1. So then I'm going to introduce you to another wonderful formula that we love. So y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So this is going to be your best friend today. We're going to use this all the time. So we're just going to substitute in the values that we have. You can pick either point. It doesn't matter whether you pick point 1 or 2 as long as you're consistent, all right? So I'm just going to pick point 1 because it's easy. So I'm going to say y minus y1 is -2 equals m, which I know is 1, and then x minus x1, which is 0. So all I've done is substitute in my values to this. I need to find y1, m, and x1. So these are the 3 values that I've put into my formula. So then I'm just going to start expanding. So y plus 2, obviously what minus negative, equals 1, and x minus 0 is just x, right? So x. So then I have y equals 1 times x is x, and then I'm going to bring that across, right? So this is just linear algebra. I want to get y by itself. So if you remember this, y equals mx plus b or c. I have no idea which letter you guys are used to using. I'm used to using both. So let's just do c because c is for constant. That's what I think is better to use. We always want our final answer in this form. So y must be by itself. So here I didn't have it by itself yet. So this is the equation of that straight line. Y equals x minus 2. Where this is always your slope, and this is always your y-intercept. So c should always be your y-intercept, -2, -2, excellent. And your slope is 1, which is 1x, rise over run is 1. Okay, let's have another go at doing it for this. So again, I'm going to write down the coordinates of my points. So this point here is -2, 2, and this point here is 1, -3. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing that I did before. The first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. So m equals y2, which is -3 minus y1, 2, x2, 1 minus -2. So I have -3 minus 2, which is -5, and 1 plus 2, which is 3. So my slope is -5/3. Now it is completely fine to have fractions. We're going to leave it like that. Remember, like we said, we don't need to change it to, well, first of all, don't change it to a decimal because you'd have to round and we don't want that. But you don't even need to change it to a mixed number. Just leave it. Now we're going to use this wonderful formula. So I'm just going to pick this point because I can. It really doesn't matter which one you use. So I'm going to say y minus y1, which is 2, equals m, so -5/3, x minus x1, which is -2. So then I'm just going to solve this algebraically. So I'm going to leave that for now. Then I'm going to do -5/3 x, right? I'm going to distribute. So then remember this is a plus. So I have -5/3 times 2, which gives me -10/3. So this is really what I can do is put a minus sign there, can't I? Because I'm just subtracting this. Then what I need to do is bring this across, right? So y equals -5/3 x minus 10/3 plus 2. Then these are like terms, so I'm going to put them together. negative 5/3 x. Now think of this as thirds, so 2 is actually 6/3. So I'm going to add 6/3 to this, which gives me negative 4/3. So this is my formula. Now we end up with some unpleasant fractions, but that's okay. We're allowed to have fractions. And you can see here, this is roughly negative 1 1/3, right? This should be the y-intercept according to this. This bit is the slope, so negative 5/3 is our slope, like we said before. And this should be our y-intercept. So negative 1 1/3, that's where this is. That looks right to me. You can always check, look back at your graph and just make sure your numbers make sense. If I got a positive number here, I'd know that I made a mistake and I should go back and check my signs. Maybe I forgot about this bit. So just always double check your answer at the end according to your graph. All right, let's do one more of these. So again, I'm going to call this one 0.1 and this 0.2. This is negative 3, negative 1, and this one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. So y2 is 2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So then I should have 2 plus 1 is 3, and 5 plus 3 is 8. So again, I have a fraction. That's completely fine. So now I do y minus y1 over here, negative 1, equals m, x minus x1. All right, so this is y plus 1 equals 3/8 x, and this is a positive. So remember, I'm just going to multiply straight across. You can think of this, if you can't remember how to do this, this is like saying that, right? Because 3 is like 3/1, and then you just multiply straight across the top and the bottom. So really you're just multiplying this number by the top of your fraction, which is the numerator. So then this is positive, right? Because both of these are positive. So then I do 3 times 3 is 9/8. All right, now I have to add this 1. So y equals 3/8 x plus 9/8 minus 1, right? There's a positive 1 here, so I'm subtracting it over here. So y equals 3/8 x, and then 9/8 minus, well, this is 8/8, right? So I've just got 1/8. So this is the equation of that straight line. I'm just going to quickly do a couple of examples. You should know what the equations of these are. You do not need to follow this rule, but I'm going to show you why it works. Hopefully you know that this just has a slope of 0, right? And this is infinite. So we're not going to be able to write it in this form as such, but we can still do that in a way. So what you're going to do is you're going to say that this line goes through where y is 1 and it never changes, right? So whatever the x value is, that's changing. The x value is constantly moving, but the y value is always 1. Same thing here. The x value is always negative 2. Whatever the y value becomes, x just stays as negative 2. So these are the formulas. But if you want to use this, it still works. So y minus y1, so let's just pick this point here. So this can be negative 3 and 1. Y minus y1 equals m, which is 0, x minus x1. Now 0 times anything is 0, right? See how it works anyway? So you still get the same answer. And same with this. This is a little bit trickier because if we say y, well actually first of all let's just call this one negative 2, 1. So y minus y1, which is 1, equals m, which is undefined. It's not 0, it's undefined. M, for, I don't know how to do this well because it's going to be over 0. Let's just call that x. It doesn't really matter what it is. Well, I'll call it m for argument's sake. X minus x1. Okay, so then y minus 1 equals m over 0, x plus 2. Now, for this to go away, we have to like multiply by that, but this doesn't work because you cannot divide by 0. There's no such thing as dividing by 0. It doesn't make any sense. So this bit sort of all disappears, and then we sort of have 0 equals x plus 2, which means negative 2 equals x, which is what we said before. Don't worry too much about this, but the rule is this is, so if you find the slope for this, so let's just find these 2 points. So if I say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So then I have 0 over 4, which is just 0. 0 divided by anything is 0, which is why this is 0, right? But here, it's a little bit trickier than that, because this one is negative 2, negative 2. So if I say that y2, so let's call this point 2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is negative 3 over 0. Now you cannot divide by 0, right? Because this is a plus. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. You cannot divide by 0, so that's why we say that this slope is infinite, because this doesn't make any mathematical sense. Or undefined. The book is calling it infinite, I think. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Really, we want to get things in this form, and we want to use these two formulas to make it happen. All right, let me know if you need any extra help. Good luck.